Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. All praise and thanks to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for all His blessing and protection. May salawat and salam to our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the most perfect man who ever lived in this world and the biggest source of inspiration in seeking knowledge jihad. May we get his syafaat. Amin ya Rabbal Alamin. Honorable judges and all of the audiences, I'm Adinda Desyani and I am from Islamic Senior High School Al Irsyad Al Islamiyyah Karawang, and here to present you about the few things teenagers and underage marriage. According to TikTok.com, a public figure married his 14 years old girlfriend. ICPA, a well crime. Did you guys heard about the news that I've mentioned? And what do you guys thought about it? Are you furious? Bewildered? A little bit disgusted? Or maybe a mix of all of them? Nonetheless, this news caused an uproar from the public. And to be honest with you, I couldn't care less at first when I heard about this news. And it took me a long time now to realize that maybe the reason why I felt so pathetic about this issue because this is not the first time that this kind of thing is happened in our country, Indonesia. Because according to TikTok.com, Indonesia ranks 7th in the world of early age marriage cases. And according to National Commission on Violence Against Women, that there are 171,000 of early age marriage cases in Indonesia that were approved by the religious court from 2017 to 2021. And you might be thinking that there's a tremendous amount of it, but actually those were the only recorded and registered ones. How come it reached that high a number? Because there's a lot of factors that play in it, like accidental pregnancies, inadequate education of marriage life, and the presumption to avoid free sex, and etc. And does that mean early age marriage is wrong? Our main concern is not whether is it right or wrong, but our main concern is the effects from early age marriage, because the effects are really far from trivial. And did you think that all of early age marriage are failed? No, there are successful out there. But if we compare that to the one who failed and ended up in divorcement, then which one's higher? And that's why I want to try to develop youth sensitivity about these issues. Because just look at around us. How many teenagers out there or youth laymen that they say they want to get married as soon as possible just because they want to run away from their problems without them knowing that they just run into another problem. And the trend that I found in social media platform where the teenagers already had a baby at such a young age. And they're proud of it, even raise each other for it. And just for the sake of popularity and to be seen as cool and trendy. And that's why it's really breaking my heart, because they don't know the dangers of the young woman will face for giving childbirth and the possible death for the young mother and the baby. And don't forget about the domestic violence rate from happening is really high because the mental state of young couple and the financial struggles that they may be encountered. And actually, do you guys realize that there's a lot of possible risks that are awaiting from them, and yet they're still reckless on choosing their decisions because they lack the knowledge of the things that are awaiting them for early age marriage. Because in this day and age, teenagers are widely exposed by the life of celebrity in social media and make them think that marriage life is just full of sugar and happiness without them knowing the responsibility that must be shouldered by them. And those things should be the trigger for us to realize how important it is about parenting education for teenagers in Indonesia. Because by giving them parenting education, we can give them the real truth about marriage life, and we can also give them an idea like how to manage household finance, or maybe like how they must treat their spouse, or like how to deal with other problems that they may be encountered in their marriage life in the future. And in addition to prevention attempt, that we must also accommodate the young parents who are still new about parenting. And because I believe that teenagers in Indonesia already know about the possible consequences from those actions, but they're just not really aware of it. Because until now, teenagers are just being told to, like, you can go on date, or like, I'm a girl and then I can get close to other boys, and the otherwise. But the real problem is that we, as the teenagers, don't like being told to. And that's why we must fix our communication way. And I believe by holding parenting seminars for teenagers, that the teenagers will be able to understand by themselves the boundaries in relationship without them have to feeling prohibited or restrained. And perhaps with their growing awareness that it could also reduce the number of early age marriage in Indonesia. And it is the least thing we could do as a teenager, as a Muslim teenagers in Indonesia. And it's time to say goodbye. I hope that my speech will be able to open our mind how important it is parenting education for teenagers. And it is not an embarrassing thing to learn parenting as teenagers. And thank you for all of your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.